What if I told you that the secret to, well, everything you want isn't about trying harder or having more willpower? What if it's about rewriting the actual code in your mind? Today we're going to break down the method that top performers like the cricket superstar Virat Kohli used to go from feeling stuck to being totally unstoppable.
But before we get into that, let me ask you a question. Does your day ever feel, well, kind of scripted? Like you're just an actor, going through the motions, running the same program day in and day out?
You know the drill, right? You wake up, first thing you do is grab your phone. You take the same old route to work, you deal with the same stuff, the same people, and it triggers the exact same feelings. Then you get home, you scroll a bit, watch something, go to sleep, and then do it all over again. See, that's not just a routine, it's a program.
And that brings us right into our first big idea, your life on autopilot. The fundamental concept here is that for most of our adult lives, we're not actually driving. We're just passengers in a car that's already been programmed with a destination.
You know, neuroscientists have actually found that by the time we hit 35, our personality is pretty much set in stone. It's just a collection of memorized behaviors, unconscious habits, and automatic emotional reactions. Just think about that for a second. It means most of us are literally living in the past every single day.
So, if we're all living in the past, what is this hidden force that's really in control? Who's running the show? Well, let's pull back the curtain on the real boss. This is Section 2, the 95% in charge.
That's the number, 95%. By the time you're in your mid-30s, 95% of who you are is a subconscious program. It's this automatic operating system that's been built over years and years of repetition and emotional experiences.
Now just look at how wild this split is. Your conscious mind, that's the part of you that has goals, dreams, desires. It's just this tiny 5% sliver. That's the part of you that says, you know what, I'm going to get in shape or I'm going to learn a new language.
And this right here, this is the reason willpower almost always fails. Every time you say, okay, I'm starting on Monday, you're sending your tiny 5% conscious mind into battle against this 95% subconscious giant. It's a fight you are literally programmed to lose. And that leads to a huge realization. You can't win by fighting.
So what do you do? Well, that brings us to the solution. Section 3, how to reprogram. If you can't win by fighting the giant, you have to do something else. You have to stop fighting and start rewriting its code from the inside. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the old way, just using willpower, struggling, getting frustrated, and usually failing. But on the right, you see the new way. You're not struggling, you're reprogramming. You're not trying to break down the door, you're just giving the giant a new set of instructions.
And a lot of times, this whole journey starts with a really powerful emotional moment. For Virat Kohli, it happened back in 2012. He looked in the mirror after a tough season and just felt disgusted. That powerful feeling, that was the spark. It was his conscious 5% finally yelling loud enough to interrupt the 95% program that was on autopilot.
So how do we actually do this on purpose? Well, it boils down to this super simple but really powerful 3-step loop. It all starts with step 1. You have to change your internal story, your self-talk. Then, step 2 is the key. You prove that new story is true with small, consistent actions. And that leads to step 3, where those actions build a brand new belief that literally overwrites the old program.
Okay, let's zoom in on that first step, self-talk. Just think of it like the narrator of your life, playing on a loop in your head. The crazy thing is, your brain doesn't judge what you're saying, it just listens. It doesn't know if you're joking or being serious. Whatever you repeat over and over becomes its reality.
Bruce Lee knew this. He said, do not speak badly of yourself. Even as a joke, your body does not know the difference. Think about that for a second. Every time you say, ugh, I'm not a morning person, your body goes, okay, got it. When you say, I can't stick to a diet, your mind makes sure that's true.
So the very first step is to become a programmer and rewrite the code. You have to consciously replace the old, limiting script with a new, empowering one. You stop saying I can't, and you start saying I am. It's going to feel a little weird at first, for sure, but all you're doing is installing new software.
Okay, but here's the catch. Words by themselves aren't quite enough. Your brain is smart, it's skeptical, it needs proof. And that's where step 2 is so important. Small, simple actions are the evidence your subconscious mind needs to actually believe the new code. If you tell yourself, I'm disciplined, then just making your bed provides a little piece of evidence. It's proof.
And this is exactly how Coley did it. It's actually genius. When he had already scored 8 international centuries, he used that success as hard evidence. His self-talk wasn't just hope, it was based on proof. He told himself, look, if I can score 8, I can definitely score more. He kept feeding his mind proof, and look at the result. He now has 81 centuries. He built a new belief on a foundation of facts he created.
And that brings us to our final section, your first command. Because this isn't just some cool theory to think about, it is a practical tool you can start using literally the second this explainer is over.
It all comes together in this amazing loop. Your new self-talk inspires you to take a small action. That action gives you a little bit of proof, which strengthens your belief in the new self-talk. And a stronger belief makes the next action even easier. It's not just a cycle, it's an upward spiral.
Coley even said that once he started to see and feel the results of his new discipline on the field, it became an addiction. He got addicted to improving himself. He had successfully reprogrammed his 95% to actually crave the very things his 5% consciously wanted all along.
So let's bring it all back to you. Right now, your mind is running on old code that was probably written years ago, maybe without you even realizing it. But the good news is, you now know how to become the programmer. So the only question left is, what is the first new line of code you're going to write for yourself today?